So, question. Have you ever just felt like you're just going through the motions of your life? Like you're waking up every day, you're doing the same thing, and you're just kind of like, is this it? Like, is there more to life? And you're just like frustrated. You know that you need a change and you kind of just, you don't really know where to start. Well, if that's the case for you, this is the right place for you. My name's Melissa, and this is the channel True Alignment. And I just kind of wanted to dig in with you guys and let you know what this channel is going to be all about. I mean, me personally, I kind of went through this whole journey where I was kind of always just searching, like for the answer to that question. Like, where is this peace, this balance, this happiness, this joy in life? And so, I watched all the podcasts, I watched all the videos, I read the books, I, tried various modalities, and none of it just really seemed to give me what I was looking for, right? And there were so many videos. Like, there's all the videos, you watch about manifestation, manifesting your best life, right? Like, aligning with this, doing that. None of it really just seemed like it really gave the steps on how to really get there. Like, I always felt like I was just kind of missing something. And so I guess that's what this channel is really about. I realized that true alignment isn't something that you're constantly like searching for, that you're achieving. And I was constantly looking outside of myself, going to all these different things, thinking it was going to give me, this quick fix of, not even necessarily a quick fix, right? But like what I wanted. And none of it seemed to really get me there. And so in the process, I realized that true alignment isn't outside of you. It's something that you uncover inside yourself, stripping away, all that old conditioning and the ego and returning to who you actually are. And so that's kind of where this channel is going to kind of go. I mean, we hear these like sayings, like you hear, oh, well, just love yourself, or, protect your peace, all of these kinds of things. And like, yeah, that's great. Like, love yourself. Like, that is good advice, but what does that look like? Like, where do you start? What are the steps to get there? How do you know if you're even there? And, so those are some of the kind of things I would hear. And it's just this endless chase to something, where I'm trying to achieve this certain kinds of thing. And so that's kind of where we're going. I'm going to give you a place where you can start. Some of the things that you can do, because I've been in that exact spot. I've hit rock bottom for sure. And I've had to learn how to heal and transform that from that place and get back to this life that has joy and peace and love and all of the things. And so in my own journey, I've kind of realized that there are like 3 main shifts that I kind of went through. And so we'll be touching on each of these, but just to give you kind of an overview of what those steps actually look like is, the first I had to see how my ego and fear were like keeping me trapped. Right? Like kind of in that victim mentality where I was like, why is this always happening to me, instead of realizing that things are actually happening for me, not to me. And unlearning all of that the stories, the conditioning, all those things I've been carrying around, keeping me trapped. And then the second step or shift, I guess, kind of would be like, just getting radically honest with myself, because that is part of this journey is, you're going to realize that there are parts of you that maybe you don't like, you don't want to face. Maybe you're not as good of a person as you thought you were, and that's okay. Same thing for me. And, also, figuring out what are my core wounds? What is it that's holding me back? What is that keeping me trapped? And being honest about what are those core wounds? How am I abandoning myself? And it's not to beat yourself up. It's not to be like, oh, I'm a bad person. That's not it at all. It's just to stop letting your past run your life. Because the more honest that you can be, the deeper you can can't talk. The deeper you can dig, right? Like, to bring up all that stuff, like, that helps you process through and understand why you are doing some of these things that you're doing. That's how you get real with yourself. That's how you heal. That's how you get to that life that you want to have. And then, a third shift probably would be learning what true unconditional self-love actually means. Because when you finally realize your own worth, that just naturally overflows with compassion for other people. Like, you learn how to have more compassion for other people as well as yourself. Like, I think one of the, huge things is like, especially people who are religious. I mean, I grew up in the church, like, I always felt like we were always supposed to be giving of ourselves to everybody else. And it always felt like I had nothing left, right? Like, I was always running on empty. And I think that that's something that we get twisted, because, the things that Jesus said were the most important of these is, to love God above all else, right? And I think that's super important, to have your own relationship with God, but also learn to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, you can't really love your neighbor if you're not really learning how to love yourself fully. And when you do learn how to have unconditional love and love yourself fully, that overflows onto everybody around you. And so we're definitely going to be trying to get there, because that is super important in finding that peace and that joy and that best life that you're searching for, right? And to have alignment with God as well. But also I really want to sit here and say, like, this is still my journey that I'm sharing. I'm not a master of anything. I'm really just trying to help people understand their own journey better, or give them a starting place, to give them the tools to help them, that I didn't feel like I was really finding in all the other places. And so I'm just here learning through my journey too. This is just trying to create a community for everybody, because growth is a lifelong process. It's all about self-awareness. There is no destination. Like, this is a lifelong thing that we're here to do. And I just want to offer real tools and honest conversation that I wish I had, like, because I feel like I spent so much wasted time on this, that now I'm trying to just put my journey out there for people to save them a lot of time and energy, and they can just jump right into what actually might work for them, instead of trying so many different things before they get to that starting point. And I really want this to be a channel of community, because honestly, it's just, most of what we do in life is so subconscious that it's so hard to see your patterns. I mean, I'm 43 years old. I'm still discovering some of my core wounds that I never guessed that I had, that have been mirrored to me recently by, certain people in my life. And it's really hard to identify that without other people in your community who are willing to be open and honest about their own journey and how they face their own core wounds and really brought those things up. And also surrounding yourself with people who maybe are like-minded and willing to be honest, because I feel like, we have friends, but of course they don't want to hurt our feelings. They don't want us to be upset. They don't want us to be sad. And so a lot of times people like to sugarcoat things. They don't really like to be honest, and that's something very valuable if you can find a friend who is willing to be lovingly honest, because nobody wants to hear it in a harsh way. But, like, I have a best friend, and that's what she does. She brings it to me with love. I know that, and I'm willing to, be open enough to see what she's trying to do for me, instead of, being so triggered or offended by that. And that's something that I really want us to grow here on this channel, as being an open community to help each other. And so always feel free to, like, comment, like, things that maybe you want to see, things you don't understand, and to jump in with comments to other people in a supportive way, right? Like, we really want to articulate anything that we're saying in a very loving way on this channel. But yeah, I really just, that is a huge goal for me, is creating the community. And so on this channel, we're going to get real. We're going to talk about relationship dynamics. We're going to talk about attachment styles, which I think are really important to understand, not just in romantic relationships, but in all relationships across the board. How to spot, when your ego is running the show, practical tools for shadow work, really digging deep, like discovering who you are underneath everything, how to cultivate, that deep love for yourself so that you can overflow that out into the world. And, how that shows up not only for yourself, but for other people around you. And actually just all the messy parts of life, right? Like, anything that comes up, there's nothing really, like, I don't want to say, like, off the board of what we can talk about on this channel, but it's all about growth, and it's all about love and support of each other. So as long as you can just maintain that on this channel, that would be amazing. And we're just gonna like shed the old versions of ourselves, all those stories that we've been told who we are, the core wounds who have created this defense mechanism that we've created to survive in the world, and really just digging deep to find out who we are, so that we can all stand in our most authentic power, right? And so if you're ready to go deep, if you're ready to heal, if you're ready to do the work, please subscribe and join the community.